Oh, can't you see? We're running out of time. You're gonna lose your mind if you think you're doing fine. You can't describe it yet, but something's wrong. Where are your dreams now, and why don't you feel strong? Yeah, yeah. Every day, every night, you try to find yourself. Don't live your life as someone else.
Hello, everyone. Oh, yes, you're probably wondering to yourself, where have I been? Well, IRL gets in the way. I know I'm trying to bust out these podcasts and everything like that, but IRL stuff gets in the way. And the shit that I've been through, ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't believe even if I told you. Even if I told you, we haven't got long on this podcast today. But anyway, we're back for the Wrestling Matters podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We are back where wrestling matters and promos don't. So, yeah, we're back on the podcast. I'm back. I'm trying to bust out as much of these as I can. But like I say, when IRL stuff gets in the way, it's a little hard to do. I ain't gonna lie. But I'm not alone today. I got with me my old comrade. That's right, my old comrade I used to work with back in the day. We're back together again. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Michael Larkin.
It's a pleasure to be back with you, Anthony. It's been a long years. Last time we were together, we did a show called Wrestling Unleashed, as well as a show called Wrestling Zone for your channel, and it's great to be caught back up and great to be talking some pro wrestling with you today. How are you?
Good, man. Yeah, we're back. And yes, the Wrestling Unleashed and the Wrestling Zone is back, but I suppose you can say we amalgamate them into one. So there you go. So yeah,
exactly.
All good, all good. All good. Today we're just going to talk wrestling. Today, catch up on a lot of stuff, and with the time that we've got, and that, and just chat shit about wrestling and talk about wrestling and talk about what is wrong, and what is right in the world of professional wrestling. And yeah, we may go into some promos, we may not, but we don't do promos on this podcast. It's fine. So, with that being said, though, I think the first thing we need to talk about, since we last spoke and since I've last day, I think I talked about it briefly on my podcast a little bit, but we're going to go into better detail here, is the thing I call the Triple H factor. That's right, the Triple H factor. You're probably calling yourself the Triple H factor. What is the Triple H factor? Well, the fact that he's bringing back everything and he's changing Vince McMahon's shit on his vision of WWE. And the best thing about it is he's making WWE a wrestling promotion. Ooh, what an irony. Ooh, yes.
What a concept.
What a concept. World Wrestling Entertainment. Emphasis on the word wrestling, not sports entertainment. So, yeah, he's brought everybody back. He's brought Karrion Kross back, which is the right call. Braun Strowman. Ooh, where else have I get? Tegan Knox this past Friday on SmackDown. Damage Control members as well. Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, and even, Bailey returned, but, she didn't come alone. And the list goes on and on. He just keeps on bringing people back, which is the right move to do. He even brought back, bless his heart, Bray Wyatt himself. Mm-hmm. And, what's your take on the Triple H factor?
Well, what we're doing is we're doing a reset of what we shouldn't have done is released all of these people. And I think using them in the correct way where Vince may have not gotten like a Bray Wyatt or gotten like a Tegan Knox or Dakota Kai, what have you. And Triple H is seeing it in his vision. And I mean, the Tegan Knox factor works because the history with Dakota Kai, turning on her with the War Games match. So you bring something with Liv Morgan and Tegan Knox as a unit against Damage Control for the tag titles. And I mean, Bray Wyatt, first of all, what he's doing now with the incarnation of this gimmick, battling the inner demons, so to speak, and he's going with LA Knight, who's a hell of a promo and can really feed off of that, showcase, fear. So you're showcasing a lot of great storytelling, and I mean, the list goes on and on, like you mentioned, but two of the newest ones, a lot of people are talking about possibly coming back. If not, I mean, you got Lord William Regal, Steven Regal himself. I mean, he's got his son, Charlie Dempsey, in NXT, possibly coming back. That might have been his write-off with the MJF thing, so we hear he's going back to WWE, and especially with NXT Europe with this year. The other one that we just found out is Eric Young, who was just killed off with Violent by Design and Impact WWE. So you have Nikki Cross going back to the old Nikki Cross. Why not bring back Eric Young? Hell, bring back her husband, Mr. Killian Dane, the one and only Big Damo. We might have a sanity reformation. So it's very interesting times of bringing back people that shouldn't have been released, but also really going back with hindsight and a 180 of what we've seen storytelling wise and just great professional wrestling action.
I think Eric Young wanted to come back to WWE and
Well,
Triple H come in,
right.
everything like that.
Well, that's the thing right there. That's the thing right there, Anthony. You said it so perfectly. People see Triple H is in charge. It's like, okay, new regime. I want to come back. You see a lot of that. And I think that's what's great about it with the overall basis of pro wrestling, how Triple H wants to run it as opposed to how it was run. And I mean, mind you, there's a variety. There's a great thing involved with professional wrestling. So many companies like AEW, Impact Wrestling, MLW. You have a influx, if you will, accoutrement. So, I mean, with them coming back under the new regime, Triple H has been hitting it out of the park, and I can't wait to see what he does. Of course, there's going to be hits and misses, but, you know, Triple H is working his butt off to get back right to where we were.
More on AEW later, by the way, with the whole William Regal thing and all that, and AEW in general. Also, I want to talk about the NWA as well later on, which is... it seems to be going down the toilet from what I'm seeing, but I'll more on that later on. But yeah, WWE. So thank fucking God Triple H took that gimmick off LA Knight, man, and brought him back to what he is, which is LA Knight is just WWE's version of Eli Drake.
Yep.
You know, it's pretty much that. I don't think they could use the name, to be honest with you, which it is what it is. But that's LA Knight's version is Eli Drake is LA Knight in WWE, and that's their Eli Drake version.
Yes.
And thank fuck they brought him back to that gimmick, because I don't know where he was going with the models thing. I mean,
well, they made him like the old Rick Martel. All they needed was some Aramis with him, and then you have Mansoor as Massey, and then Mansoor, and then you have Massey, the former Mace of Retribution.
By the way, is that Big Mace?
Yes.
Yeah, the Big Mace.
Right.
I realized the other day when I figured that out, right? I was looking at that dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that was on Raw's broadcast team at one point, where Brock Lesnar went over to attack Laura, and he stood up for Laura, and he got the crap beaten out of it.
Yeah, that's Dio Madden.
And then they take him out and we'll just throw a modeling gimmick on you. It's fine. You know,
right.
Make you a complete twat.
Right. Well, you go from Retribution with the mask, and now you're a male model. So hey,
wow, just wow. Thank God they took LA Knight out of that. The tag team division in WWE seems to be, although they've probably got a lot of work to do on that, I ain't gonna lie, but it seems to be building a little bit back up. A little bit. It's probably going to be a slow process with the WWE, considering Vince fucked the whole thing up. But, well, I'm talking about the main roster WWE, and the main roster of WWE, NXT, and the other ones. It's no brainer, but it's going to take a lot more for them to build that up.
Well, what you have with the tag division, I mean, when you have the Brawling Brutes, which is dominant on there, you have so many great tag teams that we see. The New Day, the Usos, we have Imperium doing their thing. We have so many great tag teams that have come up. And I mean, the list just keeps going on and on with what we see with the tag teams. Now, of course, we'll take out Maximum Male Models from that.
I got the Bright Imperium back.
Oh, and also you got back Imperium. You mean Fabian Eichner is Giovanni Vinci now, but we all know it's Fabian Eichner.
Oh yeah, it's Fabian. Yeah. It's the same people but with different names.
With different names, exactly. And I mean, you also have Hit Row is back minus Swerve Strickland. So I mean, there's a lot, and you got the Viking Raiders, and they brought back Sarah Logan, who is now Valhalla.
Good move. And she's probably getting some stick from the NWA as well, because considering she's being accused of stealing somebody's gimmick in the NWA as well.
So, all right, hold on. We'll bring this up because for those that don't know, on Twitter, first and foremost, Sarah Logan has been doing this Viking thing for years, and you know, with her in her real life, with getting married to Eric of the Viking Raiders, and just their overall practice, right? So you have Max the Impaler, who is a great gimmick. She's Wrecking Ball, I believe, on WoW Women of Wrestling, which is David McLean's promotion. David McLean, who did the original Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. So Max the Impaler has a similar look, but Sarah Logan has been doing this years before she has. So that's where that Twitter backlash came from.
Yeah, that was just bullshit. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That was just, I saw that on the dirt sheets and everything. I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're gonna copy this and everything like that. So fuck. Everybody's copying everybody nowadays, for fuck's sake. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Bloody hell. But yeah, good to see the Viking Raiders back, or the War. Is it? Was it the War Machine that they were called in Ring of Honor?
Well, yeah, they were War Machine, yes.
Yeah, I prefer them as War Machine, if I'm being honest with you. But anyway, that's just me. But yeah, I'm glad to see them back as well. I'm glad to see Sarah Logan back, and obviously they're going to put her with her husband in the Viking Raiders, so that makes crystal clear sense as well. WWE's undisputed. I mean, we talked about the tag team titles. Who is the team? Because we all know eventually the Usos, even though they've been fucking phenomenal, they're going to lose the belts at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Who would be the team, in your view, to beat them?
Well, the talk that's going on, and I can see this, is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn getting back together and, just being the team that beats the Usos. And we'll see how the story goes, because they could go many different ways with the bloodline now. But I think it's very interesting and telling if it is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they get back on the same page and beat the Usos. That would be interesting. But I think that's the most logical stance of where to go now to who to beat the Usos. I mean, if you wanted to, somebody said from an interesting side of things, because Solo Sikoa is always so serious and he's not really involved with his brothers a lot, why not have it be Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa being the Usos, which would be something very interesting. But if I was to lean, I think we're going to go more towards the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens direction.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit. I don't think it would fit that well with Sikoa.
Right.
The whole Sikoa thing. I mean, I like Sikoa as he is. I mean, you need to put it in the Continental Championship on him, or US title, whatever, on him. But yeah, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Obviously, there's going to be Swerve there at some point. Then, if it is going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, obviously they've been tag team champions before. They were Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. But yeah, I just don't know how that's going to play out. The talk of the town is speaking of the Usos. Let's talk about the head chief,
yes,
or Travel Boy himself, Mr. Roman Reigns. He's got the undisputed belts, well, the titles, the WWE title and the Universal title, culminating with the undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship, yada, yada, yada. From what I'm getting, there is two people that are in line to beat him. Mm-hmm. There is two people that are in line to beat him. One of them being The Rock, because I don't give a fuck what anyone says. WWE is obsessed with getting The Rock and Roman Reigns, and rightly so. It's just a case of when is The Rock available. Hopefully he will be at WrestleMania. Again, more on that little subject later on, because apparently Rock is being put down to win something. More on that in a minute. But the other option for me is Cody Rhodes as well. Those two are the logical ones for him to think, because we all know what Cody said and everything. Cody saying this and everything. Apparently, there's been rumors that Cody is not going to be wrestling Roman at WrestleMania, or going for the championship at WrestleMania. He's going to be facing Seth Rollins again. Oh, God. I don't want that.
Well, okay. I don't hate that because of the crap that he's been talking about. I don't hate it. But I think the logical reason I would also go to Roman is because he cut that promo that he wants to do it for Dusty. And I think the promos you could have and the storytelling between the Rhodes family and the Anoa'i family makes perfect sense. And with The Rock, first of all, a lot of the rumors have been that The Rock is going to win the Royal Rumble and challenge Roman.
There you go.
But that's the thing too. First and foremost, that's a match I would love to see, as we all would, but I don't think it needs to be for the titles. But if it is for the titles, I think I would keep one on, because there's 2 nights of WrestleMania. I'd have Roman keep it and beat The Rock for one of them, and then I would have maybe Cody beat him for the other one. So at least he walks out with one. So there's many different scenarios you can go to. I think both would be great matches, but we shall see. Time will tell. But Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, I would not hate, because of the fact of the crap that Seth has been saying, and also stuff we could go back to that, because Cody, I don't mind it. We'll see how it goes. But if it's Roman and Cody, I ain't mad at that either.
Well, first of all, you saying about the belts thing, because WrestleMania is 2 nights. There is talk of them doing that. Defend one belt one night, defend the other belt the next time, and have Roman lose both of them. There is talk of them doing that. You talk about Cody. I think Cody wants to win the WWE title. If I'm being honest with you, he wants to win the WWE title. He doesn't want to look at. He doesn't want to look twice at the Universal title. I think The Rock winning, The Rock and Roman for the titles, it will mean more for the titles than it would be one-on-one. It probably would work one-on-one without the titles, but I think it would mean more for them to win the titles because you've got this as well. Roman Reigns being the tribal chief. I am the tribal chief. Rock said it in an interview. No, I'm the tribal chief around here. Boom, boom, boom. There you go. But I'm not down with Rock winning the Rumble. I'm sorry. If that pisses anybody off, then it is what it is. But I'm not down. I compare The Rock winning or The Rock potentially winning the Rumble to freaking Batista winning it. That motherfucker comes back. Oh yeah, I'm coming back. My debut's back in the Rumble. He goes and wins the fucking Rumble. It's like, what the fuck? Where's Bryan Danielson? What happened to Bryan? Hello? WWE logic here. Hello? You know, and that's why we ended up getting the triple threat matchup at WrestleMania.
I mean, I don't think it would. I don't put it to that level, but yeah, Rock winning would not be ideal for me. I would like.
I they put the WWE title in, so
yeah, they did when he beat Punk back at Royal Rumble 2013. You're right.
Yeah, that was only to set up the Roman, the
Roman Cena too,
the Rock and Cena too, and everything. You know, once in a lifetime. Yeah, right. Like if like they weren't going to give Cena a rematch and get his revenge on him for crying out loud. Anyone saw that fucking come? Jeez.
Well, that's the other thing too with Cena, like you mentioned. Like there's talk of doing Cena in theory at WrestleMania because of that one exchange that they had, and I think they want to have the young guy like in Austin Theory. You know, the selfies are gone. He's being taken serious. I'm a man now, and there's talk of him and Cena, which I would not hate. I think it would be a good match. I mean, John Cena is slated to wrestle. They want him to wrestle at WrestleMania. Somebody put out a theory of why not have him go against Gunther because he's never won the Intercontinental Championship, which, I mean, that's interesting as well. Somebody put out, I know Logan Paul said he would like to wrestle John Cena at WrestleMania, but I'm fine with A-Town Down, Austin Theory. Who do you think Cena should face at WrestleMania?
Not Gunther.
Not Gunther, no.
No. Because I see that as another Rusev.
Yes, you're right.
Rusev. Dominant, runs right into Cena and loses. Nah. If you're going to put the Intercontinental Championship on him, okay, do it. Okay, he's anything with belt in the company. Okay, fine. But there's a better way to do it. Not Gunther. Okay. Logan Paul, I wouldn't hate on that because Logan Paul is hanged with Roman. He's hanged with The Miz. He's had a WrestleMania matches here and there. He even had a SummerSlam match here and there. And he's proved that he could do this. Austin Theory, though, with Cena. Thank God, first of all, Triple H is changing the style and the gimmick of Austin Theory.
Yes.
Because for anybody who knows, I had a discussion with this on one of my streams. People seem to hate Theory. But I hated Theory because he was basically Vince McMahon's bitch boy.
Yes.
You know, Daddy's not here anymore. It's Uncle Paul now. But now it seems that we're looking at the Theory that we knew from, say, Evolve. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, I didn't see all of his work, but I saw a bit of his work in Evolve, and he was great in Evolve. Yes. Now we need that Theory back, and we seem to be getting that Theory back. He's got the United States title back. Again, 2-time champion. In all honesty, he should never have lost it to begin with, but whatever. We all knew he wasn't going to get the Undisputed title, not when Roman's about. So I think Vince McMahon putting the money in the bank on him was a complete waste of time. So hopefully down the road, he'll get another crack at that just to make up for it, because with Roman about, he wasn't going to get it. Maybe they just put it on him anyway to keep him from cashing in on Roman and ruining it or anything, or ruin any plans that they had, but whatever. But I'm liking this Theory. If Theory goes down this right path, everybody's like, oh, I don't like Theory. He's not good. He can't wrestle. Anything like that. Go watch this fucking Evolve stuff, then come back and tell me you can't wrestle.
Right. I mean, go on the WWE Network and watch the Evolve Anniversary show where he's killing it on that show and in his overall Evolve work. Now, everybody was crapping on the fact that he cashed in on the U.S. title and, you know, they called an audible. Well, first of all, like you mentioned, he ain't cashing in on Roman. Roman ain't losing that title. But what really adds the element of it, too, it's like, yeah, people say I have the most failed cash in, whatever. But you know what? I don't care. I'm about me now. I'm not a man. I ain't nobody's boy. Like we talked about, the change it with the character, the intricacies and the nuances of, hey, look at me. I don't need no goddamn selfie anymore. I'm wearing this. I'm wearing, like, you know, I'm showing off my body. I'm wearing this jacket. I'm looking nice. I'm looking fresh. And I want to be taken seriously. honestly. And personally, I think him and Seth Rollins and where we're going that direction, I want to see more of it because they have great chemistry together. I mean, he was one of the disciples of Seth Rollins back in history there. I love that. I think the character direction where we're going, because let's be honest, he was the bitch boy. Like when Drew McIntyre came in as the chosen one, Vince saw him as the chosen one. Austin Theory was looked at as the chosen one, and Vince made him go through the hoops. So it's interesting, man. But yeah, no, I like this new direction and the way that Triple H. A lot of people thought, like, why does Triple H bury Austin Theory? It's like, hello, Triple H is the one who signed Austin Theory and also worked with him in NXT and helped build and upgrade him. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
But yeah, Austin Theory is the future, man.
Yeah. And Austin Theory, like I say, Triple H knows what he's doing with these types of talent. He's not burying them. He ain't Vince McMahon. He knows what he's doing. It's just it takes time to rebuild, especially to rebuild him, considering he was, Vince McMahon's bitch boy. And like Roman said, Daddy's not here anymore. It's all about Uncle Paul now. So
that's the thing, Anthony. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's the long-term storytelling that Triple H understands, the long-term storytelling. And I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. You see people online. I mean, social media has its influx. People were complaining, oh God, will somebody take the title off of Roman Reigns already? And I'm like, okay, old school thinking. Bruno Sammartino held that championship for years upon years upon years. Hulk Hogan, years upon years upon years. We've seen people hold it for numerous years. CM Punk, 434 days, a long time span with that championship. People just don't want to have long-term storyline anymore. They just don't understand the significance of holding it for that long and that old school mindset. People just want to rush right away.
Yeah, I can understand with Roman, people wanting the belt off Roman. Yeah, I can understand that. But if, depending on what they'll do, they'll end up whinging if they put it on The Rock. If The Rock wins it at WrestleMania and beats him for the belt of Mania, they'll end up whinging anyway. So you can't win. Let's face it, you can't win on that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where they're going with Seth Rollins. That's another thing. I've been watching Raw, and I'm seeing what they're doing with Rollins and that, and he seems to be a babyface.
Yeah, they're slowly transforming him back.
It's a slow transfer, and it seems to be developing into a feud with him in Theory, mainly over the US title, because obviously Rollins wants it back now and everything. But now obviously they're probably going to use Rollins to build him up and push him, or at least try to elevate Theory into that level that he needs to be. So yeah, I mean, this is the guy that was on. I just hope he doesn't like fall out of favor or anything like that with Rollins, because we all know Rollins is talented and all that. We all know. We ain't stupid. But yeah, I mean, we'll just see what happens. I mean, we've got WrestleMania. I mean, Royal Rumble is going to be interesting as well. That's going to be next month.
Yes, I mean,
all this talk about The Rock. There's a possible chance Cody might win it as well.
I'm for that too, man. And I mean, with what we got going with the Rumble with Roman and KO again, a rematch from what we saw at the past year's Rumble, like I'm for that. Like I'm all for Roman and KO one more time because their feud was so good. And then also you could see Sammy's involvement. I mean, there was also talk of, because they're going to be in Montreal, I believe, for the Elimination Chamber, having Roman go against Sami Zayn. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting the way that you can put layers to that and how we lead to WrestleMania and whatnot before that. So it's really an interesting time to see the storytelling between Roman and how we get to WrestleMania. So I mean, and I like the KO dynamic with him because they're actually, KO is the fight Owens fight. He's the prize fighter like we saw when he first debuted in NXT. So finally KO's going back to being that prize fighter.
I think he needs to be the, what they call, Triple H needs to allow the package pile driver. I want him to be the Kevin Steen.
Yes. Yep.
You know, all right, do the stunner, keep the stunner, because obviously Austin allowed you to use that. You know, keep that, whatever. I want him to be Kevin Steen as Kevin Owens, but I want him to be the Kevin Steen. It's like you know, stay as Kevin Owens, but you bring that Kevin Steen in you. You know, go and be that guy. Go and be that guy you wear in Ring of Honor. You know, right. Go and be that. That's what I want anyway.
I agree. And I mean, he has used like a variation of the package pile driver, sort of like, if you remember, like earlier of his moonset, he would hold it like he's doing the package pile driver, but it turned into like a slam.
Yeah, package power bomb.
Yeah, package power. Thank you. Yeah, but no, that's interesting because I don't know if that move is banned. I don't know what they're doing with that maneuver. I mean, we see it in AEW with Pentagon with the Pentagon driver. So I mean, I don't know, man. I think I like what you're saying because it's that element of Kevin Owens, but that added extension with Kevin Steen that we saw in Ring of Honor. So I get it.
Yeah, and he would probably raise hell. I mean,
Yes.
but I think I said it was. What's this about Ronda Rousey? Let's
Oh my goodness.
Ronda Rousey. I saw this the other day. People want Ronda Rousey fired because
Yes.
apparently she's not willing to do jobs. She's not willing to do spots in matches. She's just not willing to do anything, apparently. I mean, what the fuck's up with that?
Well, the proper example of that, and somebody put this on Twitter. So the Shotzi spot at Survivor Series where she was going for like the DDT on the apron and Ronda kind of just like sandbagged or flip-flopped, like, oh crap, I'm not going to take this move. So Bianca Belair took that move in NXT when she faced Shotzi perfectly at precision. This one, I don't even know. And I think with what they're doing with Ronda now, and I'm going to say right now, turn when she came in 2018 at the Rumble and they built to that, her and Kurt Angle against Stephanie and Triple H, and then the feud going in there with Becky and Charlotte, like that was great. But ever since she's come back, it's been like a fart in church. I mean, the Charlotte feud was fine, but ever since she's become the SmackDown Women's Champion, it's gone to hell in a handbasket. And I believe they said her opponent for the Royal Rumble, and we could see that slow build there on SmackDown is going to be Raquel Rodriguez.
Apparently, as well, yeah. Came in, a feud with the team with Kurt, faced Triple H and Stephanie. It was meant to be The Rock, by the way.
Yes.
But they couldn't get The Rock involved. So plan A didn't work. So what do you get? Oh yeah, we'll go and get Kurt Angle, plan B. But yeah, I think it's just been dead. I mean, Charlotte's coming back.
Yep.
I've seen her. She's been training with the woman known as Curly Ray.
Yes.
As well in ICW fans right there. So the woman known as Curly Ray as well. So let's just hope it's not me. But yeah, I haven't been thinking with Ronda, to be honest with you. I mean, you've got Ronda and Shayna Baszler.
Mm-hmm.
One of the members of this four horsewoman of the MMA is now in AEW.
Yes. Oh God. Don't get me started. I just got to bring this up. Probably
I think it's in that Roderick Strong's misses.
Yes, Marina Shafir, probably one of the funniest promos of the year. You don't know me, and then right into you do know me. I like Marina Shafir, don't get me wrong. Very talented MMA fighter, but when she was with Marina and Jessamine Duke, when they were all in NXT together, those were the two weak links. And I've seen her in AEW now, like she's with Nyla Rose. She's the problem, Marina Shafir. Oh, good God. I'm just saying. And I don't hate her, but it's dead. It's ridiculous. But no. What I like too, like you brought up, like Shayna Baszler's back with her. Shayna Baszler's that killer again. She's this queen of spades, like we saw in NXT. Because I'll be honest, during the pandemic era, having this badass fighter, this MMA fighter, right, being scared of a doll. You know what I'm saying? That's not the Baszler we know. Now she's back to killer. She broke Natalia's nose, man.
Yeah, I think that. So yeah, the whole Shotzi Blackheart thing. I mean Baszler. I just have a feeling with Baszler, though, it's going to be her and Ronda Rousey.
That, I think, is the end game. I just would like to see how they would have her turn on Ronda and stuff like that, because that's the ultimate match that a lot of people want to see. And I mean, with Shayna right now, the feud is probably when Natalia's back up and running with her nose. Like, you know, we get to see her and Natalya again, which I'm all for. You know what I'm saying? The former tag team partners going at it. I'm really interested to see the direction that they go with that. So I mean, you never know, but I think Ronda and Raquel will do very well at the Royal Rumble. Personally, I think that could lead to something where Raquel either loses here and gets it at Mania. I don't know the direction, but I'm really curious to see how they play off of that because Raquel has such stature and presence about her, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, maybe Baszler and Thingy at WrestleMania.
Yep.
Ronda at Mania.
Maybe
that'd be a perfect thing for that as well. But yeah, I mean, Ronda's run lately hasn't got my attention. I'll tell you that for nothing. And the whole Liv Morgan thing, they really fucked her over, but in my opinion, with that one, it's just
well, I'm happy.
Should have gave her a longer run. Should have gave her a little bit of longer run, but
right. I mean, I'm happy that she, after all these years, she finally got the championship. But yeah, then they took it off of her, obviously, and now she's going this extreme hardcore style. And like we mentioned earlier, Tegan Knox being paired with her against Dakota Kai, and Io Sky should be very interesting. I think that'll be a great tag feud in the future. So I'm for it, man. And I mean, with Tegan Knox, she has a new look, not looking like the old Tegan that we know. And people talking about her reaction, that really was not that much of a crowd reaction. But I always say this about it: there's two different types of wrestling fans within the WWE auspices. There's the main roster fans, and then there's the NXT fans. There are just people that just watch the main roster. And then there's people that just, are more NXT and know where they come from and stuff. So there's either people that either didn't notice or, had like a, with how she looked, or they don't follow NXT. But us, like us, who we know about the history with Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai. So I'm curious to see where that goes as well. We can have a proper reintroduction of Tegan Knox, and people will say what they will about Emma, because Emma hasn't been in the WWE since 2017, 2018, and she's been an Impact. But I mean, I'm happy to see her back, but let's see where we can actually go with this. I know Madcap Moss, who she's dating, and in real life, they encompassed that storyline briefly with them. And they're doing Lacey Evans another reboot, just based off the fact that she was a Marine again. So we have another reboot for Lacey Evans.
I was going to say that might work with her. Everybody's crapping on that one, but I think that might actually work with her because, again, Marine background and all that.
She was a Marine. She was military police. So you go from this Southern belle with the classy dresses and act like a lady to this friggin', we're going to talk about my family and my upbringing and then turn heel. And now we have the proper way of going back to basics. So people will shit on, oh, it's a rebrand. It's another rebrand. But you have a talent, Lacey Evans, who is very talented. I mean, we saw her from the start and jump with NXT, the Mae Young Classic, and her transformation to the main roster. So, I mean, you have something that finally fits, and it's something that's based off her real life. So it correlates and, coincides.
Speaking of NXT,
yes,
I gotta admit, I'm impressed with what they're doing with Apollo Crews. No more Nigerian gimmick.
Yes,
that was awful.
Well,
and I've known this guy well before. I've watched this guy well before. And by the way, I forgot what they called Tegan Knox before she came to WWE.
The Nixon Newell or one of those.
Nixon Newell, that's it. That's the one. That's what I called her when she was doing WCPW and all the other indie wrestling promotion. But yeah, Apollo Crews, he seems to be getting the push because it's going to be at some point him and Baron Breaker, aka Dogface Gremlin Jr.
Next week. That's next week, Anthony. Braun Breaker.
What's next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Next Saturday.
It's yeah. I mean, it seems to be working. Oh, that's the
Deadline.
That's the new pay-per-view. Yeah, Deadline. Yeah. The new pay-per-view that HBK brought out as well. So yeah, that's I would like to see him wear the belt, to be honest with you. Maybe Triple H can bring him up.
Right. He's one of the guys, man, with Apollo Crews. Like when we first saw him in 2016, I felt he was called up to the main roster way too quick. And they had him feud briefly with Sheamus. They had him and Kalisto against Dolph Ziggler, for those that remember that feud. Then he just, he kind of was doing the Titus Worldwide stuff, and then he kind of floundered a little bit. Then during the pandemic era, he was the United States champion. Then he decided to develop a Nigerian accent, and then he won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. So he had a Mania moment. But ever since he had that, Commander Aziz gimmick, it went nowhere. And so they brought him back to NXT as the Apollo Crews. And this is a long time coming. We care about Apollo Crews again. The storylines that we've seen him with Grayson Waller and work his way, his premonition, if you will, his prediction of, hey, I'm going to go for you, Braun. This is not going to be the Apollo Crews more revigorated, more rejuvenized. And they had that sit down at the diner there. It's great storytelling, and it shows the wares of Braun Breaker. Hey, I've been the champion for so long. It's kind of wearing on me, but you know what? I don't sweat it. I'm going to go fish, and I'm going to win. I'm going to beat Apollo Crews. And I think it'll have great chemistry. Will we see Apollo end the year at Deadline with the NXT Championship, or will Braun still retain and then we move forward to another match? I don't know, but they have me intrigued with Apollo Crews.
Yeah, I mean, even NXT seems to be going back to normality at least.
I was
with the whole black and gold stuff and everything.
Well, I was skeptical about it.
Yeah, they have to rebuild the whole thing now.
Right, and I was skeptical about it because I'm just like, okay, well, we don't have a lot of the people that we have from the black and gold. We're just introducing these new people, which is what it is again. It's a developmental, but it's showcase and highlights a lot of great talent. I mean, I like Charlie Dempsey's on there. They brought in a lot of NXT UK talent. They brought in Isla Dawn, who's going to feud with Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray now. We mentioned Braun Breaker and Apollo Crews. Carmelo Hayes is exceptional. We have this Iron Survivor match now, the most pinfalls in 25 minutes. And then the penalty box if you get pinned, a la King of the Mountain match in TNA. So it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. I hope and pray that Chugs gets well.
Yes.
So, and if you watch on Twitch and you see the streams, you all know who Chugs is, baby. Okay, It's Adam Cole. There's all this talk that it's scary to think that there's all this talk that he may not even be wrestling again, considering what's going on. But the last time he wrestled was in AEW. He was part of that four-way for the IWGP title, and he hasn't wrestled since. So, actually, he did come back at one point.
Yes.
I don't know if it was that. I don't know. Was that before? Was that before the four-way when they turned on the Bucks?
I think it might have been after, like, they turned on the Bucks, and that was the last time we saw him. Or it might have, I think you might be right. It might have been before. But nonetheless, that's the thing too, because Kyle O'Reilly has a neck injury. Again, Adam Cole may not ever wrestle again. So and Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish in Impact.
Bobby Fish is an Impact, and Roddy's in NXT, still a part of the Diamond Mine. So I mean, it's very interesting to see where the career and the toll Adam Cole will be with his concussion. Will Big E on the WWE side, will he ever wrestle again? So it's interesting,
But the thing is, as well, everybody, let's switch into AEW as well a little bit, because we're going to be talking about AEW. Everybody was shocked about that turn on the Undisputed Elite did to the Young Bucks, which led to Hangman Page coming out and eventually led to Omega return as well. Everybody was surprised about that and shocked and everything. I wasn't. As a fan, I wasn't. Because if you saw Adam Cole stomping the Young Bucks, to stomping them, he even said it himself. Did you forget what you did? Do you think I forgot what you did? Do you think I forgot what you did? Especially when he came in first debuting it with Omega before he kicked Thingy's head off, Jungle Boy's head off.
Yep.
Did you forget what I did? Do you think I forgot what you did to me? Going back, his last match in Ring of Honor, I believe it was Final Battle. It was one of the pay-per-views.
You found that.
One of the big shows. Yeah, it was one of the big shows when they kicked him out of Bullet Club and brought in Marty Scurll. Long-term story time, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it was about. Cool. And that's what it came into there. Because he joined them, but obviously he wanted his boys in the Undisputed Elite over there. Why they got rid of Bobby Fish for, I don't know, but whatever. But yeah, they brought him. I mean, they had a tag team there, and they're all right. Kyle O'Reilly and freaking Bobby Fish, Red Dragon.
Yep.
Crying out loud. So why they got rid of Bobby Fish, I'll never know. But that's what it was did. And I was never surprised about that. A lot of people online, I'm surprised about that. But anyway, let's talk AEW.
Yes.
We may go back to WWE later on, but let's talk AEW. What is your take with AEW? Because people seem to like it, people seem to don't. Okay? We have had new World Tag Team Champions in
the Acclaim.
Max Caster, the Acclaim, and rightly so, because they're great. And even though I was a bit with Max Caster, but
yes,
he's grew on me. He's grew on me. He's done some good work. I remember a couple of months ago, I even said this on Twitter. I watched an AEW show, and I even said it's great to watch Ring of Honor. It was great to watch Ring of Honor tonight. I watched AEW Dynamite. It was great to watch Ring of Honor because it was full of Ring of Honor matches, Ring of Honor build matches. There was mostly Ring of Honor build matches on there. Do you think it's time for them to get a separate brand?
Yes.
To separate the Ring of Honor from AEW television?
Yes.
I think it is.
Oh, yeah. And I think a lot of people get tired of watching Ring of Honor on the AEW because it's like, all right, if I want to watch Ring of Honor, I'll watch Ring of Honor. I think we need to finally have that brand. I think Tony Khan's hoping to get the Stevie deal. I mean, he's got the Ocho, Chris Jericho as the champion.
Oh,
You know,
God.
being I know the disruptor of a Ring of Honor, defending against people like Ishii and many different variations and Bandito. But that's the thing now, because we have Final Battle coming this Saturday, main evented by Jericho and Claudio Castagnoli. And if Claudio loses, he has to join the JAS. I mean, they added more.
Please don't let that happen.
I know
Please don't let that happen.
well, they added more matches to it, Anthony. They also have Mercedes Martinez and Athena for the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. They have they have JC Griffey, whoever that is, and Shane Taylor against Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. They have Samoa Joe and Juice Robinson for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. And yeah, that's pretty much
That's two interesting matches right there for me.
Mhm.
Don't forget Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta
Yuta. Yes, thank you.
for the pure title,
So
which has been brewing since Daniel Garcia won the thing.
Yep.
But that was interesting as well. First interesting thing, seeing Rampage, Shane Taylor
Yep.
showing up in AEW. And for those of you that don't know, before Keith Lee went to WWE, he was tag team partners with Shane Taylor.
Yep.
And JD Griffin, I don't know who that is. I'll probably find out when it eventually comes to Final Battle. But Shane Taylor, and I'd be interested to see them two getting back together in AEW.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't know where it's going with him in Strickland.
Yeah, because, you know, he walked out on him and he doesn't know if he can trust him, which is the deal. And I mean, with Shane Taylor, like him and Keith Lee were an amazing tag team, Ring of Honor. We mentioned them earlier. Their feud with War Machine was absolutely amazing. Like that's the thing, man. There's a dichotomy of their former tag team partners, and here we are. Shane Taylor being the longest reigning Ring of Honor television champion. So he's represents the newer age of Ring of Honor, and Keith Lee represents, you know, where their former tag team and stuff. So we talk about storytelling, that works in its favor. So that's what we have so far. And for those that want to see Ring of Honor Final Battle, since it's the same day as Deadline, it airs here in the States at 4 p.m. Eastern. So it'll be probably around 9 p.m. your guys' time when it airs.
Yeah. That's another interesting thing as well. Is it 9 p.m.?
Well, so it starts
on Saturday.
Yes, so it starts here in the States at 4 p.m. and then NXT's ends at it starts at 8 and probably end around 10. So yeah, they're about 4 hours before NXT's Deadline airs on the WWE.
Might be able to get I don't know if I'll be able to watch it live. I'll be able to watch it when it's finished, because it'll be 3 hours. So basically they're competing with Deadline, and so
yeah,
that's fine. But yeah, that's interesting to me. Maybe they can do that as well, because like I say, I don't know where they're going with Strickland, this whole Strickland thing, since they lost the tag titles and everything. It's, you know, it's like Shane's like, get a partner, we'll settle this at Final Battle and everything like that. And then Keith turns around and sees Strickland there with, you know, I don't know where this is all going, but Samoa Joe, Ring of Honor World Television Champion and TNT Champion, at least until Wardlow gets out of him, at least, going against Juice Robinson. When did that come about?
So it was on Rampage last night. No, 2 nights ago, excuse me, as we're recording this.
Yeah. On
Rampage, he cut the promo and he said, I'm challenging Samoa Joe at Final Battle for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. So that's how it came about. He cut a promo.
Wow, I just flipped through. I never think either. I think Rampage needs to be 2 hours, if you ask me. I mean, okay, 60-minute works, but I think it's time to up the end just a little bit now and make it 2 hours and make it a presentable show, because all this talk about the ratings and that. But yeah, Juice Robinson, who left New Japan Pro Wrestling, was a member of Bullet Club, was pretty much obsessed with the IWGP United States Championship. I'm sorry, but it seemed to get that way. He was obsessed with that belt. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in AEW. Are they going to put him on the Ring of Honor roster, or are they going to put him in the AEW roster and have him go for an AEW title?
Well, I mean, his wife is there. That being
that's the only reason he's there. The main reason he's there, because his missus is there, Tony Storm.
Yep.
So, and she just lost the Ring of Honor, the AEW Women's title, what they eventually called the AEW Women's World Title reign.
Yes.
Not the interim, because apparently Thunder Rosa had to hand the belt over. I know a lot of people fucking slate this whole interim title thing. I like it. You know, they gave the interim title thing with Tony Storm.
Mhm.
They gave it and gave it and gave it. If it gets to the point where Thunder can't compete with it, can't compete and defend the title like she's supposed to and everything like that, then fair enough. Strip that, change the interim to the world title, and just go with that.
Yeah.
But have it on standby. Have it on standby. I hated the fact where they used to strip the belts from them because they couldn't compete. Oh yeah, 30-day notice. And you say, oh yeah, I mean, take Finn Balor, for example.
Mhm.
Guy wins the Universal title, first Universal Champion. Next day he has to forfeit it because of his injury. Think, give an interim title and just keep it and then bring it back in. Because I think it makes it a little bit more interesting. Yes, it makes it look like MMA, I get it, but whatever. But I'm not down with all this stripping of the title that quick. For me, that's just me anyway.
I mean, it's a mixture of, yes, it's very MMA-esque, but also at the same time, it's like I think they want a definitive champion, and I think of Thunder Rosa, which how she is, I'll be honest with you, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's that angle when she comes back or what have you with that. They also have Saraya over here doing the interview on Rampage where she said she's coming for the AEW Women's Championship. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see her get back in the mix after her return beating Britt Baker. So it's going to be interesting to see Saraya up in the mix, if you will.
Thank God. Thank the Lord. Okay? Thank the good Lord. The good Lord. That it's now going to be the Acclaimed in FTR.
Yes. I mean, well,
that had to happen.
The other side of the thing I really don't want to see is I don't want to see FTR against the Ass Boys because they're going that way too for the Ring of Honor tag titles probably.
Well, that'd be an easy payday for FTR then.
Yes.
Easy payday for them. Speaking of outlaws, and we were talking about outlaws,
yes.
Less said the better.
Yes.
Speaking of outlaws, outlaw Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, God.
Now, he has took his GCW gimmick, or this new gimmick that he's been developing outside of WWE before he got the boot.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have to admit was a little unfair, by the way, but it is what it is. And now he's brought the outlaw gimmick, this new outlaw slapnut chosen one gimmick that he's developed, and he's brought it to AEW. He made his debut by whacking Darby Allin with a guitar, and now he's lurking around frigging Sonny, what's his name? Sanjay Dutt.
Yep.
Jay Lethal. What the fuck has happened to that guy?
Team TNA, man. Team TNA.
That's what it basically is. Team TNA with a big giant as their bodyguard. That's what it is.
That's Satnam Singh.
Poor bastard. That guy could be a fucking. That guy could be a big mon. That guy could be AEW's Omos.
Yeah.
Except he's lurking around them three clowns. As you clearly said, Team TNA. That's why you're hearing all the fuck TNA, fuck TNA, because that's what it basically is.
Well, they're setting up
TNA's bitch boys.
Well, they're setting up the Acclaim to go against Jarrett and Lethal because we had Jarrett and Lethal. Well, we had Jarrett and Lethal fight Ric Flair and Andrade in his last match. So hey, now we're in AEW, but Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal together, and they're gonna go for the tag titles.
God help me if they win. That's all I can say. God help me if they win. I mean, come on, Jay Lethal. Once upon a time was running Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. He had the TV title and the fucking world title. And now look at it. He's Sanjay Dutt's lapdog. He's Sanjay Dutt's lapdog. Mm-hmm. And now him and Sanjay, now Jeff Jarrett's lapdogs. For some reason. The outlaw dogs, as I call it.
Outlaw dogs.
I mean, golly, man.
I hate it.
Jeff Jarrett. Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Apparently he's now with AEW. He's working behind the scenes with AEW. Basically doing the job that he did for WWE now in AEW.
Yes.
God help me if he becomes AEW World Champion. But I doubt that will happen. I have not a clue. I know what his role is behind the scenes, but I have no clue what the fuck his role is.
It's like a business thing, kind of like what he did with the live events for
I know there's more behind the scenes with it's business with the live events because apparently AEW want to go into live event
Yeah,
mode
and international stuff. Yeah.
and international stuff as well, and he knows that better than anybody. Whatever. And that'll be good for AEW. But what's his role on TV besides being
Being the
Sanjay's lapdogs?
Being
The
the outlaw,
lapdog.
man. Being
Yeah.
the outlaw, man. I don't
I mean,
know.
what's his? I mean, he's renewed a rivalry with Sting.
Yes,
Well, sort of a rivalry with Sting, if you
sort
can
of.
call it that.
Sort of.
I mean, I just don't get his role. I mean, he might as well just stay behind the scenes, but he wants to be the lapdogs. I mean, he comes out for a tag match on Rampage, assuming that, as soon as Daddy Ass turned around, Billy Gunn to you and I, Daddy Ass turned around and says, "We want the best tag team." He assumed it was going to be them two.
Well,
So he was like walking down to it. As soon as he was, and as he was just about to walk down the ramp, FTR's music hit.
Well, hold on. You made a great point there because here's the funny part about that. They're looking for the best tag team. Then Sting and Jeff Jarrett. I'm sorry, Sting and Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal come out, and it's like, wait a minute, you guys had one tag match and you lost. How are you the best tag team in AEW?
And him and Jarrett and Lethal had one tag team match, and it was outside of AEW. Ric Flair's last fucking match.
Yes.
For Christ's sake, which should never have happened. To begin with.
No. I mean, Ricky Steamboat got in the ring at 69 and he did fabulous.
Yeah, but Ricky Steamboat can go.
I know.
He's proven that. I mean, that guy can probably go at freaking 8 years old. I mean, the one match. I mean, everybody thought he was good. Everybody thought it was a big mistake when he wrestled Jericho all them years ago.
And it was amazing.
He hanged with Jericho for crying out loud. He could probably wrestle Jericho now. But yeah, golly, outlaw Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be a perfect fit with some more outlaws.
Ugh.
Except, well, less said about that, the better. But golly, I mean, that hat, the dark thing. I mean, it's basically his GCW gimmick because he did show up in GCW for a bit as well. It's basically his GCW gimmick. But I just don't get it. I just don't see where this fits in AEW. I can understand his position behind the scenes. He's live events, live business dude. He's ahead of that now because apparently AEW want to go to international and do live events and all that stuff, which is fine. They're going to have to do that at some point anyway to make a little bit of money on the side. But I just don't get where he fits on the TV. Besides being Team TNA and all that shit.
I couldn't even tell you, man. But all I know is, I mean, there's a lot going on in AEW with the Punk thing, and we're still seeing.
Yeah, let's talk about the Punk thing. What the fuck was that? Okay, I mean, everybody. I mean, CM Punk. Until the first time CM Punk's been made out to be the bad guy. I mean, he tells the truth, and he gets public enemy number one story in my life. Pretty much, I tell the truth. I get my words taken out of context. And I get final warnings and I get figuring all this stuff and everything like that thrown at me. I get my words taken out of context, which is fine. Story of my life. And I'll never be sorry for being honest. But he's honest with everything that happened to him at the post thing, at the scrum. And the next minute they have the brawl. And he's getting kicked out. Okay. I mean, and the Elite made out to be the bad guys.
All right. I'll follow up with that. So it all started because of whatever. Like the story came out that, which is not true, that CM Punk is the reason why Colt Cabana hasn't been on TV and yada yada whatever. And Colt Cabana is one of the boys in AEW. So Hangman goes off script before their title match and says something about workers' rights and derpader, and that pissed off CM Punk, and he didn't want to do business with Hangman Adam Page. Then the match comes where he beats Moxley, goes into the scrum. He's got his bakery muffins, whatever he was eating, and his drink. And he's tired. He's told I'm tired and I work with fucking children. He was pissed that the rumor got out. He was pissed about everything. So he just vented. Everybody's in the wrong. And the reason why I say Punk was very honest. And I'm more on Punk's side than the Bucks and Kenny Omega and whatnot there. And of course, what happened with Ace Steel afterward. The issue, though, is you're at this media scrum. It's a press conference, this media scrum. And the problem is you don't act like that in front of that. This is something that could be done behind closed doors. And the problem is if he had done this in WWE where Triple H was there or Vince McMahon was there, they would have shut this down. But Tony Khan, and again, Tony Khan loves professional wrestling, but I'm going to say this right now, and I know how people are going to feel. He's probably one of the biggest marks ever, and he loves CM Punk so much that he didn't, when he did this, Punk did this, like, he should not be his job to say whatever. This is when he should have shut it down, but he couldn't because he did not know what to do because he's a fanboy. And again, I respect the fact that he loves and respects professional wrestling, but he's a fanboy. He does not know how to handle this situation. He should have shut it down, but he let it go because media scrum. But everybody was in the wrong, but I tend to more lean towards the Punk side because Punk is trying to be professional and he's trying to, it's going to piss you off on so many levels and variables here because it's like Hangman Adam Page doesn't want to listen to the veterans, and that's the thing that comes into the AEW locker room where this is all kind of coincides here. There's a level of immaturity there. That's what William Regal even said. Like, they came out, like, he was talking about there's a maturity level here that's not there. There's no maturity here because everybody thinks they know anything and they don't want to listen. So there's a lot of variables that tie into what happened with the media scrum that we see has really influxed ever since.
Another thing as well with that, going to the being the elite, I believe it was.
Yeah, BTE.
BTE. When Punk debuted, I believe they did a behind the scenes of that.
Yes.
When you just saw Punk getting ready and he's turning around, with the whole thing went out. And you saw Kenny Omega and Young Buck's face. He was like, oh, God, this kind of stuff and everything.
Yes.
I guess that was the thing as well. I don't know if they were acting because of that.
I think that was
on that, or that could have been the real thing as well.
No, I think that was part of it. I mean, then you hear stories coming out about like he wanted to change the formula. He wanted more storytelling involved with AEW. You know what I'm saying? And less of like, going spot. So he wanted to infiltrate more storytelling, and everybody laughed at him and said, he wanted to change the formula. He wanted to be like a business, like he said in the media scrum. He's like, these guys thinking they're in Reseda, which for those that don't know, Reseda is California, and that's where the Young Bucks and all them came from with Excalibur and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. So his words, almost verbiage, was like, I want this to be run like a business, not a high budget indie. So that's where I think he was also going and infiltrating with those verbiages. It's a lot of variables, man.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with running a company like a business, unless you want to turn it into an indies promotion. But anyway, so yeah, AEW. Like I said, I like AEW. I like where it's going. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things they need to do. They need to change. Speaking of changing,
oh boy.
NWA, National Wrestling Alliance, or whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
Yep.
Because Nick Aldis left.
Yep.
He shoot, and he says the product's changed.
Yep.
And from the looks of it, he's right. But then again, he goes out and says what he says, and he gets suspended. And the guy's contract runs out in January, I believe.
Yes.
And fucking Corgan suspended him.
He's out of his
mind.
Like,
just fire if you don't want him on your TV, dude, just fire the motherfucker. The guy's contract runs out. Let him go. There you go. See you later. That kind of thing. But you suspended him until his contract runs out.
It's become
what the fuck is that about?
It's become funny because that happened, and it's the comments he said about Empower and women's wrestling. Like, there's not the NWA style, which also goes into Trevor Murdoch saying what he said, we don't have the talent for another Empower. And I'm like, okay, you brought in Kylie Ray, Mickie James, and all these people from the indies. And, they put on a hell of a show with that NWA Empower event. But, it's just, there's a lot of stuff that NWA is being criticized for. And of course, now that the former Brodus Clay Tyrus is the NWA champion now, and people have been shitting on that. Like, out of everybody, Tyrus, there's two variables that look at that. Like, one, it's bad when freaking Tyrus is the world champion. But also, number two, the man is on Fox News, and say what you will about Fox News, and I'm not a big fan of it, but he's on Fox News, and he can get more exposure to the title because he's on a big network, talking about politics and whatever he talks about. So, I mean, I understand it from that business standpoint as well. But Corgan, and also comparing it to like Lashley and friggin' Lesnar or whatever that main event was, and I'm like, no. And just Corgan, I know. And Corgan, well, that's the thing. When he first came into TNA, and he was in 2016, and he was helping Dixie and whatnot, and really helped TNA not go out of business at the time. I mean, people would always talk about, they go with that global championship, how they made it like friggin' MMA boxing with the 3 rounds and whatnot. I mean, he's always had ideas, and he's always been a fan. I mean, he did some stuff with ECW back in the day, and he would.
I was never into that global time.
Me either. It wasn't. wasn't my thing either, dude. And I mean, with
No.
Corgan, it's just that company has taken a massive free fall, if you will, free fall.
Yeah. I mean, there was one segment on there where he tried to get. I remember watching one segment with the US tag titles. They brought back the US tag titles, ladies and gentlemen. Not the caliber ones. They look like some rinky-dink little belts that they just stuck a figure from USA flag on, from what I'm seeing, or replica belts that they just stuck a USA flag. But anyway, the guy's walking around. I can't remember who the champion is, but they got him up in the talking position. It was Corgan, the interviewer, and the guy with the belt. It was one of the US tag champions. He brings out another belt, Corgan, which is apparently a heritage belt, leaning going back and everything. And he said that this is the US title. First of all, the belt had nothing to do, looked like it had nothing to do with the United States Championship to begin with, because there was no flag of the US belt or anything. I think it was like a Michigan belt or something.
Yes.
I have to go back and watch the clip. And he tries to hand it over, and the guy didn't take it. He didn't take the belt. He kept this one, which, in my opinion, was the right call.
Yes.
And he made an idiot out of Corgan. You got fucking Joe Gale, whatever the fuck his name is, the yes man, the walking yes man in the NWA, from what I've seen, calling the guy an idiot for not taking the belt. A belt that has nothing to do with the United States tag team titles, from what it seems. Okay, fair enough. What a fucking tool bag he is. Godly. And then you've got Velvet Sky, who's trying to be the peacemaker, but she's dreaming of being Big Van Vader more times than she's doing what she's doing on the friggin' thing. You know, Vader time. Yeah, fuck off, Velvet, with that shite. Okay, Vader called from heaven. He wants his gimmick back. You stupid. No, yeah, it's time. It's time. It's Velvet time. No, it's not. It's Vader time. It always will be Vader time. Stick that. You know, that's gimmick infringement. You're lucky Vader's not here. And I just do not get where this is coming. And I see where Nick Aldis is saying. Because you've got a guy here that speaks his mind. He carried the freaking promotion through the pandemic, for Christ's sake, as the champion. You gave Cody a run with it before getting it back from Cody. He helped the company. And because he's honest, Colgan's like, well, we'll suspend you until your contract runs out, but you will no longer be on thingy. They even took him off because he was a producer. And apparently now his replacement is Tom Pritchard. Heavily Body's Tom Pritchard for those.
Yeah, I know. Skip and zip, man. Skip and zip.
Skipping, no, God.
Body down is
bless you, Chris. God bless you, Chris Candido.
Yes.
No,
that's just. Yeah, that company
it's gone from the NWA, and I was impressed with it at first. It's gone from that to just a rinky-dink little indie promotion.
Yep.
With a platform for people just to get over.
Yep. That's
all it's gone.
That's pretty.
There was some semblance of the old NWA there, the way it was run, the way it was done, and everything. Now it's gone from that to just a stinky little fucking show. And the NWA USA on YouTube, that's what they call it, the USA show they've got on YouTube, that needs to be an hour, not 30 minutes. First of all, they've got Power, which is doing well. I'll give them that. It's keeping them afloat at least. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's keeping them afloat at least. Whether it's on Fight TV or even on YouTube, they've even put the replays on YouTube, which is a smart move on their part. I'll give them that. Mr. Brodus Clay Tyrus, now the NWA World Champion. I think that's only because they've got him on. He's on Fox, like you say. Oh yeah, we'll just stick the belt on here. Maybe he can go out and get Fox. Maybe get us a Fox TV deal. That ain't gonna work. No, why WWE's on their network. The NWA World Television title is now still in the camp of Austin Idol. Talk about motor mouth, fucking hell. But he's good at what he does, you know. And you've got Matt Cardona, who needs to get back to WWE, by the way.
Which it's it's coming, but I think
he needs to get back to WWE ASAP.
Yeah, he wants
to not be Zack Ryder anymore. He needs to be the Matt Cardona.
Yes, that's I think what he
Zack
was.
Ryder, get him in there as Matt Cardona and just let him turn him loose.
Well, yeah,
He's
when
a lot
Chelsea,
better now than he was when he was Zack Ryder.
right, when Chelsea's coming in, you want to have him come in as Cardona, not as Zack Ryder.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah, put the Zack Ryder gimmick to bed.
Yep.
Bury it, burn it if you have to. I don't give a shit. He needs to come back as Matt Cardona
Right.
if you're going to bring him back as well, and even bring Mike Knox in as well. Have the Cardona things in there. The fucking biased with Vader at ringside. I mean, Velvet Sky at ringside. When she hates the Cardonas, it's gross. How Tim Storm can figure put up with them two at ringside is amazing. That guy deserves a fucking medal. At least you got someone who knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows what he's talking about in ring and out the ring. And I think apparently he's the matchmaker now.
Yes.
He's the matchmaker now with the NWA. You basically NWA Booker, I believe that's what they're called, matchmaker, whatever. But yeah, I'm disappointed with the NWA. The NWA's gone to shit. It really has.
Unfortunately,
It really has gone to shit, man.
Unfortunately, it has, but I gotta say, in the world of professional wrestling, folks, there's a lot of great stuff out there. So definitely go in and check it out, man. I mean, I think we pretty much nailed the head on it of everything today. So, I mean, folks, I hope you enjoyed.
And even Impact Wrestling as well. I give Impact Wrestling a lot of credit. You want to talk about Impact Wrestling? The only wrestling promotion that's been on life support more times than any other promotion in this freaking life.
Right. I mean,
and yet it's still doing its thing.
I don't mind it, man. I mean, they brought in Connor for Violent by Design from the Ascension, and I know they're doing their stuff now with Josh Alexander and Bully Ray. Josh Alexander.
Bully Ray, fucking hell. And about a year or two ago, they brought back the Aces and Eights.
Yep.
You know, back then it was D'Lo Brown,
Nux,
Wes Briscoe, and
Nux,
Bischoff. And even get Knox out of the NWA and bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the last time, I mean, he even had Bully Ray wrestling the NWA against Knox, for crying out loud. But yeah, at least there is good wrestling promotions out there. Just in my opinion, and I'm sorry to say this, the NWA is not on that list.
I agree.
I'm very disappointed with the NWA at the moment and the direction it's going. And some of the stuff they've done on their YouTube channel, some of the stuff with their shows. The only good thing about the NWA is the talent. Because like I say, it's now a platform for talent just to get over. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good talent in there. Heck, Ricky Starks was TV champion in there. Now look at him, he's in AEW, challenging for the title with MJF. Speaking of MJF, I don't know where the hell they were going with this whole thing with MJF. The whole thing with him and Regal. And now he wins the Diamond Ring after doing the promo and getting taken off TV for God knows how long. He does the Diamond Ring with the Diamond, whatever the fuck they call it, the Money in the Bank thing.
AEW Dynamite Ring, and then the Casino Battle Royale, the chip.
Casino Battle Royale, that's the one. They do the Casino Battle Royale. The group that they've got, remind me the name.
Oh, the Firm.
The Firm. He hires them to be his boys so he can get the ring. Comes back, challenges for the world title. He gets into this promo confrontation with him and Regal after what happened in the past with him and Regal. Regal's a part of the Blackpool Combat Club.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turn on him. He turns on Regal. And now apparently Regal's going back to WWE, which is where he belongs, to be honest with you. So where's this going with MJF?
Well, the thing too, you had the thing with Ambrose, right? So you had the thing with Ambrose, which now it looks like we're gravitating more towards him and Hangman Adam Page in the feud because of what happened with Hangman getting the concussion. So I see where that's going. Then you also have the fact that, I mean, Stokely Hathaway came out and said pretty much on Jericho's podcast or whatever interview he did that it was supposed to be Punk wanted to, work with the Firm and the guys like that. So possibly Punk could have been involved in that whole thing with MJF or what have you. But now with the direction that they're going, since William Regal looks to be on, and probably is, and yeah, on the way out going back to WWE after that turn with MJF, the new feud now looks to be MJF and Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson taken up for his mentor, the man who trained him in William Regal. So you have one direction where Moxley's not even going to get the revenge on Regal or what have you, and we're not going to see MJF and Moxley again and maybe a rematch. Then they'll do it down the line. I don't know, but you're going towards now Moxley and Hangman Page, and over here you're going against MJF and Bryan Danielson because he did also take a shot at Bryan Danielson, saying he's a better wrestler. So Moxley and MJF is on hold, but now we have the new feud also really incorporated with the Blackpool Combat Club with MJF and Bryan Danielson. So that looks to be where we're going.
It's crazy, man. I mean, the whole thing with MJF, I don't know where they're going with him. Who do you think would be better to get rid of quickly before we end this? Who do you think would be the next guy to beat MJF? Because he's not going to be giving up that title for a while. Let's be honest.
It's tough, man. I mean, if they have the full story where Mox comes back and beat him, I could see that. Bryan Danielson, it's tough. I think right now it's just, let's see where it goes. Obviously, his next title defense is at Winter is Coming against Ricky Starks, and we know Ricky Starks ain't the one to beat him. No, not at all. Not at all. I don't know. I'm looking forward just to seeing where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I can't have a pinpoint answer on that, but as of right now, I'm more invested in how we get to MJF and Bryan Danielson because I know they'll tear their house down. But as of right now, I can't answer that.
Yeah, just hopefully they don't put Claudio in the Jericho Appreciation Society. Let's just give Claudio back the Ring of Honor World title. Mm-hmm. Jericho's had his runs with it and everything. Give Claudio back the Ring of Honor World title, and let's get freaking Ring of Honor a new TV deal and get him out of the way. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is about it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. There will be podcasts down the road, guys. I will have some topics for you. I know our IRL stuff gets in the way and everything, but it is what it is. But yes, Michael Larkin, I'm Anthony Walker. Say goodbye, Michael.
Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'm so happy to be back with you, Anthony. If you guys want to follow me, the link's in the description. I will send Anthony. Links will be in the description to my YouTube channel and my Twitters and Instagram, so you guys can follow me. That's where you can check it out under this video. And I'm just happy to be back with you, my brother. After 5 years, we get a chance to do this. So yes. I really appreciate it.
And it's not the first time this is going to happen. It won't be the last time. We'll be doing this again, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be doing this again. It's just we have busy IRL stuff and everything like that. But we are going to be doing this again in the new year. So this is going to happen again. We may, if we can, I doubt we will, but if we can get it before that. We could, okay, we'll slip one in there before the Christmas and everything like that. But if not, we'll do it in the new year. We'll get it back up and running again in the new year. And we'll just talk more wrestling as well, because that's what you get on these podcasts. We don't get promos on these podcasts. This is the Wrestling Matters podcast.
Yes.
There's no promotions here. Right, Michael?
Wrestling matters.
Indeed. Thank God for that. So until next time, guys, Michael Larkin for yours truly, the host, Anthony Walker. I am done. Thank you. And good night. Can't you see we're running out of time? You gotta lose your mind if you think you're doing fine. You can't describe it yet, but something is wrong.